Fox News? Don't they epitomize in some way exactly the kind of overheated, political hucksterism that you're condemning in the book?
No. There are so many people, I think, who would point to, for example, Sean Hannity and say, Sean, and I was just on with Sean last night, it's just Obama bashing, blah, 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 blah. But the fact is, if you're watching most of the news during the day on Fox, I think you're getting news, and they're being done by first-class journalists. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem would be that people would say, this is, despite the fact that it's the #1 cable channel in America, so obviously lots of people watch, it's fun to watch, it's interesting, that people would say, but you hear outrageous statements, or you see people, especially some of the primetime hosts, engage in slanting the news and slanting it in one specific direction to the right. And I'd say yes, but they also have people like me there, and you know what? No one tells me what to say, Glenn. No one says, hey, you know what, you're not welcome because you're not an orthodox conservative. You're not our kind of conservative. That's not true. That's never been true, and to my mind, all the critics, I wish more of the critics would watch the product, would watch the news programming, and then come to the conclusion. My experience is, a lot of the critics have never watched it. They are simply comfortable with reflexive condemnation without actually assessing what's being delivered.
I think there are some fans here.
Well, I appreciate it, because I get beat up, as you can tell.
Well, let me take it just a little further. Bill O'Reilly is someone, again, who stood by you and has been a true friend. You write in the book that I find his show balanced in a way few talk shows on the left or right can match. We are talking about the same Bill O'Reilly. He's famous for dialing up the rhetoric and sometimes inflaming things like, for example, the Kansas doctor George Tiller was featured in something like 29 episodes over a 5-year period. O'Reilly called him Tiller the baby killer, guilty of Nazi stuff, the guy operating a death mill, no question he has blood on his hands. And then, how does that work for you?
What do you mean?
How does that work in terms of Bill O'Reilly as
O'Reilly
O'Reilly
is clearly anti-abortion, clearly of a mindset that said that he felt that Tiller, in terms of conducting late-term abortion, was someone that, for him, was, an abomination. That's the way he felt. I don't have any objection to him saying that. I think that when the rhetoric gets to the point that you could connect it to Tiller's murder, that it's problematic, and I would urge not only...
Problematic, that's a soft term.
Well, I don't think that... No. It's like saying, remember the whole argument after Gabriella Giffords was shot, the congressman from Arizona? There was this kind of, again, very reflexive attitude from the left. Oh, the murderer or the shooter must have been listening to right-wing talk rhetoric, and that's what is a direct connection. There was never any direct connection between that shooter and talk radio or right-wing rhetoric of any kind. I don't think Bill O'Reilly said to this person, go to the church and kill Dr. Tiller. I think, again, you could say you're creating an environment where you have people who you might label as demagogues on this issue, demagoguing it night after night, and then someone acts. But that is just the kind of vague link that I would argue that is going to happen in a free society where you allow people to argue, to make their points. And Bill O'Reilly, believe me, is a talk show host, and he's making his point. I disagree with it deeply. I am not someone who is anti-abortion. But that's, to me, within the bounds of free and honest conversation. He's accountable for what he said.
Well, let me quote a fairly wise quote that goes, talking about commentators, saying they make money by making our problems even worse. The more bitter the divide over an issue, the more intractable the problem, the brighter they shine. But their vitriolic displays scare good people away from getting involved in politics. Now that's what you wrote, right? Doesn't that apply to many of your friends and clients?
Some of them. You're talking about the opinion people. It's like talking about the opinion pages. So if you say, and this is my experience, if I'm talking to conservatives, they say, that New York Times op-ed page is filled with liberals. And they're making the most outrageous claims and we don't agree with it. Or they say, NPR. Or they say, look at Hollywood in the movies. Now, People from the left would say, what about the Wall Street Journal editorial page? What about Fox News? What about talk radio? I think that you get people locked in these boxes, and now we're talking about the larger environment. Without a doubt, media in America has decided that this is a niche landscape, and that you make money by catering to specific audiences that have one set of opinions or another. So that's what's happening at the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, everywhere, all around us. It's not peculiar to Fox News. They make money by catering to those audiences, by affirming oftentimes pre-existing opinions. I think the audience, especially smart people in the audience, are looking around. They're trying to have a varied media diet. They appreciate when they hear a contrarian point of view. My fear is, and this is what I was writing about there, that too often though people get locked into one box or another, and that what drives the national conversation, what sets the parameters for honest debate, comes from the far right and the far left, and that you're not allowed to stray from their beliefs. If you stray from their beliefs, that's when you get into this no man's land where people say, you know, you're weak-kneed, you're spineless. Why are you looking at the other side? Why are you considering their account? And I think, you know what, that's bad. We need, as Americans, to have the freedom to talk, to argue, to debate, as I was saying earlier, to be wrong. I don't see any problem with it. If it's not an indication I'm a bad person.
Finally, you say in the book you're still an NPR fan, but you also advocate defunding NPR. Let's talk a little bit about where NPR goes from.
Well, for me, there are two things to say. One is local NPR stations, to me, are just, journalistic gems that we have to protect because they play such an important role. In terms of, I used to go out and raise money for them and do it with all my heart because in an era when we have declining local coverage from newspapers, an NPR station, local NPR stations, local NPR talk show hosts, I think they reflect the community in a way that's real right now in the media landscape. But if you're talking about NPR Washington, if you're talking about people who I think are self-righteous and even as I said earlier, limited in their thinking. Then I think, well, what's going on here? These people are one-sided, and they believe they're the only people who are practicing honest journalism in America. And they are going to look down at anybody who is doing anything differently. I just find that crazy. But the bigger point about defunding is this, and I say it to you as my fellow journalists. In January of this year, I think it was January or February, there was a letter from the head of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee saying, we've got to stop these Republicans in their efforts to defund NPR because NPR is our answer to Rush Limbaugh. And I thought to myself, wow, so if I'm a journalist and I'm an NPR, I've got to make sure that I'm pleasing my patrons on the left for fear that they would abandon me and then leave me to be defunded by the right. I thought, no, I think journalists should not put themselves in such an untenable position. They shouldn't be pleasing one side or another. Just do the job, do the journalism. The New York Times, the Washington Post, Fox News, they get advertising, and the advertisers come. NPR has an audience that's affluent, well-educated. I think the advertisers would love to have access to that audience.
But you're aware of the problem. You just praised the local stations, and they're the ones that get most 10% of their budgets from the federal money. NPR itself in Washington only gets 1 or 2%.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're talking about. Then, first of all, they say they only get 1 or 2%, but they hide the fact. And again, I think this is duplicitous that so much money flows through CPB to local stations. So it's there's a little bit of a lie hidden in here. But if you're talking about the local stations again, I think you can form different funding structures. You can ask people, especially in the audience. Again, I don't think the audience is ever going to abandon the local stations. You may have some consolidation, especially in rural areas where they have small audiences, so that NPR stations in bigger areas would then have to serve those smaller markets. I think you're already seeing this as a phenomenon in terms of the NPR system. But it's not the case that anybody's going to lose coverage and lose access to NPR.